Okay, welcome to episode 2 of the Modern Contractor Podcast. Today we're going to focus in on the book that I wrote. Published it last year. It's called Differentiate and Dominate. And it was about 3.5 years of work to get it. It's not a real long book. It's got, I think, 41 chapters. But the whole idea, obviously, is differentiation. And I have Blake with me again. He's doing the first 3 episodes of my podcast, our podcast. He's interviewing me, so you guys can learn more about myself, my business, and the coaching program that we have at the Modern Contractor. So, Blake, I appreciate you helping me out again, and let's get started.
What inspired you to write Differentiate and Dominate, and why do you feel contractors specifically need the guide?
I think, I know that there's some local contractors that I compete with in my current business that are reading the book, which is a little bit interesting that I give them everything that I do in our business. I think that ever since I started Burridge Home Solutions 22 years ago, I have always been focused on doing the little things we can do to be different than our competitors. And I think the worst thing about the home improvement industry is I think the worst thing about the home improvement industry is how everybody does things very similar. I'm struggling with words. I'm trying some difficult words. I think, what was the first? I think that the home improvement or home services industry as a whole looks very, very similar. The companies do the same things. The companies have the same sales philosophies. They have the same discounts. Everybody does things the same. So for 22 years, I've always been focused on doing little things differently. I do things that other contractors, when I'm at summits, laugh at, and they say, well, I could never do that, and I'm proof that you can. Right now, I just talked to a manufacturer rep yesterday, and I just asked a simple question: What's going on? What's the market and everything? He said, Brian, you're the only company that I have that's actually growing at a very fast pace. Everybody's very stagnant and stuff. And I believe the ideas in this book make us so different. How we go to the market with different services, how we treat our customers. We focus more on the customer experience than we do on sales. I've never taught a salesperson how to close. We don't close. We consult with homeowners, and we offer options, and we give them what they want. So the book basically is a roadmap of what we do at Burridge Home Solutions that has worked for us and has allowed us to grow extremely fast over the last 5 years. And it just gives you different ideas to make your company look different.
So you mentioned winning in a crowded market in the subtitle. Just how crowded is the contracting industry, and what are contractors up against today?
Well, I can specifically talk about our market in central Iowa. It's very crowded. Hundreds of people are trying to do the exterior remodeling, whether they be focused on just roofing or they do everything that we do. There's hundreds. And the contractors are really up against the question of, do we race to the bottom with everybody else, or do we figure out how to be different and go to the top? It's about a blue ocean strategy versus red, which means basically we need to differentiate our home service business so that we aren't competing with the bottom dwellers. And so we don't want to be competing on price. We want to be competing on quality. We want to be competing on customer experience. We want to differentiate so we're not racing to the bottom with some of these other contractors.
What does differentiate actually mean for a contractor? And can you give us some concrete examples of how contractors can stand out from their competition?
Differentiate basically means that you're looked at differently than many of your competitors by the way you operate and by the way you treat your customers. So I'll give you a couple of very simple ones. After our first appointments, when we go to a homeowner's house and we talk to them about whatever services they need, we write a handwritten thank you. That's very simple, old school. Warren Buffett talked about, Warren Buffett is one that talked about the simplicity of it, but the effectiveness of it. And that's something I brought from my experience at Robert Half International when I was in recruiting. We wrote a handwritten, their policy was to write a handwritten thank you after every sales appointment. I brought that to Burrish Home Solutions, and you'd be amazed at how many times in a given week we're told that that was the deciding factor, just that little note. That's one way. Another way is, well, one thing that I do here is I'm, as the owner, we have 34 employees. We probably complete, 8 to 10 jobs every week, potentially. I call every completed project. So these are both chapters in the book, but I call every completed project. That phone call is met with really surprise initially. Almost every homeowner is really surprised that I'm calling. But I'm not just calling to see how the project, I want to see how the project went. I'm also thanking them for their business, but I'm also asking a very key question of what could we have done better? We have another differentiator for my business and most others, I would guess, is we have a monthly meeting where my employees actually call themselves out and with mistakes that they make. And that helps us grow, that helps us solve problems. So those 3 are chapters in the book. Those are just a little taste of it. There's many, many more ideas that we do that really aren't traditional at all, but we're very successful with them.
What's the biggest mistakes you see contractors making when they're trying to grow their business or compete for jobs?
Well, I did this for decades, so it's a mistake that I know very well. They're afraid to take the next step, and they let their business run them, and they're very reactionary. And that's what we're here. That's what the coaching program that we've developed, that's what we want to do, is help them take that next step. But the biggest mistake, or another big mistake, is hiring the wrong people, not having the right people in the right place, and trying too much and not learning how to delegate. So there's a few mistakes. I will say this, contractors in general, you could go into 10 different companies and you're going to see basically the same operations, the same type of people, the same environments. They're all very, very similar. And I was in that same position for at least a decade and finally started changing some things in my life and changing some things in the business. And now I can leave. I could leave for a month probably. I'm still our best salesperson, so that would be really stupid. But I could leave for a month and my business would run. And it doesn't need me to operate on a daily basis. And that's what we want to help other contractors experience. The book is a guide, but the coaching program is the way we'll deliver it.
The second part of your title is dominate. What do you mean by domination in the contracting world?
Well, I am a very competitive person. I've differentiated our business, and I want to keep growing, and I want to become the biggest window installer in Iowa. And what that brings is farther down in the future. I think that you have to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. If you have a company and you rest or you get comfortable, that's when a company stops growing. And I just believe in going 110% all the time, and my employees know that. And we're continually growing, and we don't talk much about it specifically. We want to dominate the competition, but the things that we do, the differentiations we do, the ideas, the customer experience we're creating, that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
What's next for you after this book? And are you planning any workshops or speaking engagements?
So I'm actively working on some different speaking engagements. I have a couple coming up. So we're doing that. The coaching program, the Modern Contractor, is definitely next. That's just getting ramped up. We're working on different aspects of that. There'll be workshops. There'll be a lot of different things coming around the corner. Also, I plan on writing another book, and that one's going to be more focused on lifestyle for contractors instead of differentiating your business. But that's going to key in on some different aspects in my life that I've incorporated into it that have helped the success of the business. Things that I did that I immediately noticed positive things happening within the business, but also within my life. And overall, I just want to help contractors create the business and life that they want.
Where can contractors get the book, and do you have any additional resources to help them implement these strategies?
So we can get the book. It's on Amazon, so that's where it can be bought. We also have a website called the Modern Contractor.co, and that talks more about the coaching program. But that also has links to my blog and to the podcast and everything as well. So there's different resources on there, and I think there's some resources. There's a page on there that has resources specifically from the book that we have that you can partake. Blake, thank you for interviewing me. The next podcast we're going to do is going to be more of an introduction of my background, how I ended up here, what some philosophies and things are. So I look forward to episode 3. And then after episode 3, we're going to start getting into me interviewing contractors, industry professionals, different people that I think can bring a positive, actionable items to contractors throughout the United States and to home service pros. And we're not just focused on the home improvement. We're also going to focus on some different home service pros as well. But our plan is to really create an environment where we can teach others how to create the business and the life. You're going to hear me say that a lot, that they want. Thanks for viewing.